It's the first ever World Cup on the continent. Australia-New Zealand 2023 has not disappointed, and there's still plenty more football to be had. This week we're taking a look at the big talking points so far and asking that all-important question: who will win the trophy?
Hello there, welcome to Football Now from Doha. Well, it might be winter down under, but the Women's World Cup is really hotting up now as we reach the quarter-final stages of the tournament. So far, we've had drama, we've had upsets, we've had record breakers, and we've had some of the greatest goals this competition has ever seen. It's fair to say it's been an exciting 3 weeks so far.
After getting off to the perfect start with a 1-0 win over Norway, a subsequent defeat and draw meant that New Zealand became the first host nation to be eliminated before the knockout rounds. Records were broken in Adelaide too, as Morocco's Nahula Benzina became the first player to wear a hijab at the World Cup after starting in her side's 1-0 win over South Korea. Morocco were one of 3 African sides to make it past the group stages, something which has never happened before.
I think it's time everyone on the continent turns their heads and supports the women. And this performance from Nigeria, Morocco, South Africa, I think it sent out a powerful message. What the African teams did at the Women's World Cup will always be heartwarming. What we say here back at home is that they really won hard. This was a moment to show everyone on the continent here in Africa that it's time for the women. The women are doing it, and they're doing it actually very well, despite some of the challenges they had to go through to get to where they were.
The group stages threw up a number of surprise results, including Canada, Germany and Brazil failing to qualify, with the latter going out after a goalless draw against Jamaica. The Reggae girls made it into the last 16 for the first time and did so without conceding a goal. Brazil's knockout meant a final ever match for Canarinhas legend Marta. The 41-year-old is the only player to have scored in 5 consecutive FIFA World Cups and holds the record for most goals scored with 17. Fellow Ballon d'Or winner Megan Rapinoe's final ever kick for the USA was a missed penalty. The Stars and Stripes headed home after losing to Sweden. She, along with Marta, will be huge losses to the women's game.
Yeah, absolutely. They're giants of women's football, not just women's football, football in general, and particularly Megan Rapinoe. She's an absolute icon over in America, not just for football, but she's obviously been that kind of spokesperson for a lot of people that maybe don't have the same platform to be able to speak or challenge or voice their ideas. And Marta arguably has had an even bigger impact on global football. She may not be the same sort of celebrity status that Megan Rapinoe is, but certainly within the football world, Marta is arguably even bigger. Yeah, one of the best players to have ever played the game and probably ever will play the game.
Sweden weren't the only team to progress on penalties. England made it through just, despite a valiant Nigerian effort. Things were a little simpler for Spain, the Netherlands, Japan, France and Colombia, who all made it through in normal time, and Australia, whose 2-0 victory over Denmark sees the hosts continue their special campaign.
So a tournament to remember for Australia and an early exit for New Zealand. But that hasn't stopped football fever from continuing to sweep the nation. It's the first time the continent has hosted the Women's World Cup, and with over 2 million tickets sold so far, it's set to break all sorts of viewing records too. So just what has the feeling been like amongst the fans down under?
Yeah, to be honest, I always thought it would be a good tournament. Aussies are very good at getting behind big events, and one of the great things about this country is because it's very multicultural, most of the teams taking part have communities that live in Australia, and they're very connected to football, of course, because normally their first love. So the stadiums have been full, which has been brilliant to see. Even the midweek games, sometimes the daytime kickoffs have still had, almost full houses, which is incredible, really. And it shows, the love that this country has for football.
Now, so often at a major international tournament, it's about those on the score sheet. But one of the big talking points of this World Cup has actually been the goalkeeping. The competition has been littered with unbelievable saves, and more clean sheets were kept in the group stage than ever before. So is this a coincidence, or has the keeper become one of the most influential positions in the women's game?
It's a fascinating question, and I think certainly the level of goalkeeping has improved markedly. Certainly some of the goalkeepers that I've watched, I call the Sweden-USA game where Zecira Musovic had arguably the outstanding game of the tournament. She made 11 saves, and some of them were world class. Alyssa Nair at the other end made a couple of good stops as well. Mary Earps is a fantastic goalkeeper. So the standard has certainly risen to a very high level.
Yeah, tournament to remember for the goalkeepers then, and some of them will have a huge part to play in the later stages, particularly if those matches go to penalties. With most of the favourites coming through the group stages, the competition is still wide open, so who's most likely to go all the way?
The draw has just opened, wide open really. England right up there as one of the heavy favourites now. Japan, they absolutely were the best side in the group stages. I would back them to go all the way to the final, and yeah, England, if they was to go all the way to the final, they wouldn't meet Japan until that final showpiece. So that would be some game, I think, and I think that's the one that realistically those two are the best two teams left in it, in my opinion, and I'd love for that to be the final.
Yeah, that famous trophy could end up absolutely anywhere. That brings us to the end of this week's show. Next week we're in Sydney to bring you more Women's World Cup coverage. We'll see you down under. Bye for now.